The truth doesn't come all at once. This is a fast recap of episodes 1 through 5. What was said, what was missed, and what still doesn't sit right. I'm sitting down one-on-one with my husband, Michael Diaz, to break it down from the outside looking in. I'm Juliana Diaz, and this is the Heart and Justice Podcast. Hello, Michael. How are you doing today?
Hello, I'm doing good. How about
Great.
you, Juliana?
Good, good. I kind of took a little bit of break from my podcast. It's been a little bit overwhelming, especially with the holidays that was here. But before I get back into more of the episodes, I wanted to sit down with you and kind of just do a recap of what you've heard on my podcast. And we've known each other now for 7 years. And when I first met you, I told you my story, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Now, listening to my podcast to episode 1, which is basically kind of telling my story, was it similar to when I told you my story 7 years ago? Or was there added stuff? Was there stuff that was left out? What were your takes on it?
It was similar, very similar, but there would be add-ons, and I believe that you shut your brain out from that tragic moment that you had in life.
Yes.
And now I know you like to shut it off and not feel or think about it. But I see that you're doing these things on your podcast, telling your story, and I believe that's gonna heal you. It won't go away, but it's gonna slowly heal you.
I agree, because when all this first happened years ago, I did shut my brain off. And the reason why I did that is I knew I was going to prison. And I felt like prison wasn't a place where you're supposed to show emotion. I felt that if you showed emotion, people would pry upon that. So the only way to as a grieving mom burying your son, well, I didn't bury him, I cremated my son. As a mom who lost a child, I felt like I had to shut my brain down so that way I wouldn't lose my mind, So when I did my 10 years in prison and I came out and I had met you, I was still kind of shut on my brain, so to say, but me telling my story kind of opened. And I believe what you're seeing me adding on stuff is going through this, and all the evidence that I got from the district attorney's office has been kind of overwhelming for me, because there are times where I'm listening to the evidence and I'll be like, hey, my God, I remember that. Yes, yeah. Exactly.
That's what you tell me.
Yes. So I'm like, I can't believe I forgot, So it's crazy how some people's minds, to save our sanity, will shut off certain things, So I'm noticing now that I'm going through my case, I'm basically reopening old, so to speak. Or
those doors you closed.
Or those doors that I closed, yes. And it's taking a toll on me. I don't know, have you seen kind of it taking a toll on me?
Yes, it sure
In
is.
what way?
In different ways.
From the outside looking in, what have you seen?
The sadness, all the emotions you're going through, your physical body language, your moods. It's affecting you, and it hurts to see it like that.
Yeah.
But I believe that you need to go through all these episodes, and talk about your story so you can feel a little bit better.
Yeah. When we were kind of listening to Chris's interview, one thing that really stuck out to me was when the detective said to just tell us what happened, to not leave me in always wondering like what happened, because I'm forever going to live with questions. What happened? And did he do that? Did he ever open up in that interview?
No, he sure didn't.
He never did.
He did a lot of lying to cover himself, I believe, so he won't go to prison or get in trouble.
But at the same time, he knew he was going to jail. If you really take a look at it, at what he said, he kind of stuck to his guns, to his story.
Yeah, he did.
I believe that they kind of got a rise out of his emotions, by, it seemed like they were making up things that maybe I said.
Who are you talking about?
The detectives.
Okay.
Were making up statements that I was saying to kind of get a rise out of him. I don't know if you noticed that.
I did, and he
And
was getting a rise.
he was getting mad.
Defensive.
Yeah, he was getting defensive. Exactly. So maybe he was doing it for his own protection, but at the same time, he didn't offer anything.
No.
Okay. Now, going back to Leandro's interview, that one kind of irritated me. And the reason why it irritated me, as y'all know my story, I was selling drugs. Like, you know that. And in that lifestyle, you have the code, you don't snitch. Right?
Yes. And
everybody that is in that lifestyle knows that that's just one thing you do not do.
That's one of the rules, yes.
And in his interview, he was basically snitching.
Yeah, he was telling on you.
He was basically telling on me. But when he would say that I was selling drugs, he would switch it. Well, maybe she was doing drugs, you know, to kind of like take the focus away and kind of like throw a bone out there to see if the detectives would take it.
That sounds like a manipulator.
Yeah, he was kind of manipulating the situation. But did you not notice he left out the most important part, that he was always following me? He knew exactly what was going on, but he tried to put it off on somebody else instead of reflecting on himself and knowing he never said the reason why he was following me. He kept on saying, I was trying to get back with her. I was trying to put gas in her car. He wasn't giving me gas money. You know what he was doing? He was following me because he knew I was selling drugs. He was a drug addict and an alcohol abuser. And he was giving me money for the drugs so he can do it. He also left out that he couldn't take my son with him, but he left out the reason why. He didn't have a car seat. Now, is it against the law? I know I was doing things that was against the law, but isn't not a mother's responsibility to make sure that when your child is in a vehicle that they are in a car seat?
Yes, of course.
Well, wouldn't a mom say, okay, you can take your son, but get a car seat?
Did he have a vehicle?
He had a vehicle because in our divorce, that was one of the things, to get a vehicle. But so he had the Ford Tempo that he had. Okay. He also was homeless.
He was homeless.
He was homeless, living in hotels and living in the car.
And he wanted to take your
and
son?
He tried making it seem like he's Mr. Father of the Year, that he was wanting to get our son, that he had seen a supposed lawyer, you know. And in our divorce decree, I wish I had it. I need to get a copy of it. It specifically stated that he was signing away, so I was getting sole physical custody of our son Ethan in exchange for him having a vehicle, one of our 3 vehicles.
Wow.
Yeah. So he was trying to make himself look like he's Father of the Year, that I'm not letting him see his son. But if you notice later on, which I'll be releasing, my attorney interviews him. And he later on states that I would call him all the time to let him know if there was any kind of bumps, bruises, scrapes, or anything that may have occurred to Ethan. I let him know about it. Do you remember hearing that?
Yes, I do.
When we were going over the other...
And that's the right thing to do, because even though he was a mess up, he still needs to be notified about his son if he gets hurt or not.
Right.
So what you did was a good thing.
Right. And then another thing that we would do is whenever Ethan had a doctor appointment, he went to our doctor. Yeah. So even Dr. Coyle, in episode 5 was the interview with Dr. Coyle, my son's pediatrician. Mm-hmm. He even admitted that Juliana and Leandro always showed up to Ethan's appointment. You know, he tried to make it seem like I was keeping our son away, but in another instance, when later on with my attorney, he agreed that I brought Ethan around. You know, that was one of the number one things with me, is I wanted Ethan to know his dad.
Every son or daughter should be able to do
right.
that.
I agree.
Experience with their dad or mom.
I agree. You know, and you know, Chris was there, and Ethan was starting to call Chris dad, and I would immediately stop it. I'd be like, no, that's not your dad. Your dad is Leandro. Chris is your friend, a family friend.
Yeah.
You know, so, and Chris didn't have a problem with that either. when we were at the apartment and Ethan was alive. Donna is another important character in this story. Donna is my cousin through Escobosa. We have family there. She is in episode 2. I released her interrogation with Detective Jennings. Do you remember hearing that one?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Her role in it is she has been a part of our life since years ago. I've known her for years. Before me and my ex-husband even had kids, started having kids. We used to party a lot. And then later on, we found out that we were third cousins related. But in the end, I had taken my son to her house to meet with his dad, Leandro, and spend the night with him. That was Ethan died on the 21st. We met up at Donna's. Everyone's getting this date incorrect, but we had met on the 20th at Donna's house.
What do you mean by everyone's getting the date wrong?
Okay, Donna and Leandro keep mixing up the date and they keep saying the 18th of April.
Yes.
It wasn't the 18th. It was the day before Ethan had died. Okay. We had met up at Donna's apartment, okay, that early morning at Donna's apartment on the 20th. We stayed the night. Me and Ethan left the next early morning on the 21st. We got to the house. I fed him. I took a shower. I was getting ready to get Ethan dressed, and I got a phone call to sell a big amount. So I asked Chris to give him a bath and that I would be back. That's when the incident occurred. Okay, so that's where Donna's role is. Now, in the interview with Donna, she tried to cover her own ass, so to speak, because she was first trying to avoid talking to detectives.
Yeah, she didn't even want to talk to him on the phone.
She didn't want to talk to him on the phone or come in. She had to, Detective Jennings had to literally get a hold of her probation officer. And that was so that way she didn't get in trouble, get violated, and go to jail. Yeah. She was protecting herself, which I understand that part. But once you're already there, why lie? Why lie? I don't understand it.
Some people just lie to lie.
I don't understand it. And then she was making up stories that she was supposed to be a part of my son's baptism. First of all, I don't know if you know that, but that is a Catholic thing.
Yes, Catholic.
Do you know me and my family to be Catholic?
No. Since I've been living here 7, almost 8 years going on, your mom and dad and your family are basically Christians.
Yes. And we don't believe in baby baptism.
No.
We believe in baby dedications. Yes. We dedicate them to the Lord. And that's what me and Leandro had did with our son at Maranatha years ago when he was first born.
What do you mean? In Christian?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it was a Christian church with Pastor Dennis that started teaching Messianic Jewish. And that's the church that me and him had attended. Okay. So she lied right there. Now, she also basically snitched.
Yes. She informed the law.
Yes, she informed the law as another way of saying it, a more proper way. She basically told them that I was selling and doing drugs, right?
Yes.
Okay. Why would you do that when you're a known prostitute and a known drug addict? Yourself?
She didn't want to get in trouble. She just felt like...
knowing your cousin is facing prison time, lots of time, wouldn't it be wise just to be... And you supposedly live the street code, right? You live the street code. For goodness sakes, you sell yourself to judges, lawyers, cops that I know of, that I've taken her to. And you know the street code, so why not just say the truth that we did stay there? Me and her stayed in the living room, and Ethan and Leandro stayed in her room. Mm-hmm. Why not just say that? Why go into any kind of other elaboration on it? Why?
They say sometimes blood is thicker than water, but that's not the case.
It isn't.
It isn't, because if she was a true cousin, she wouldn't even bring that up or talk about that kind of...
I don't know if you noticed, and I'm just really thinking about it. Did you not? Okay, so in the next interview with Leandro and my attorney, he talks about Donna. He says that she knows the truth about things and that she should be asked, but that all of them are going to label him as a snitch. Remember? Okay. Did they converse with one another and come up with something so that way they wouldn't get in trouble? Because the real reason why they were both around is they were buying drugs from me.
Yes.
Okay. Did she not want to say that I was doing drugs or selling drugs because her probation officer was standing right there?
Yeah, that could be one. Yep.
I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Oh my
Just
god.
answer the questions.
Yeah, so why
Why take away?
maybe she's trying to set you and her and your ex-husband try to set you up. I don't know, like you said.
Well, that's another thing too. Like Donna's gotten in trouble so much with the law, and I've never seen her do any prison or jail.
Oh my
And
god.
she's a known prostitute.
Well, what do you mean by a prostitute? What do you mean by that?
She sells herself for money and for dope.
Wow. How do you know that?
Well, when I first met her, she lived with me and Leandro, and we were all partying. At this time, I wasn't selling drugs. I was young, dumb, and ignorant. And we were drinking, we were doing coke, we were smoking crack, we were doing acid, like we were doing it all, doing the most.
Huh?
And I met her doing that. So I would take her to all her, she calls them her Johns, and I would take her in our little S.
And Johns, for the public to know what that is, what do you mean by Johns?
Johns are male people who buy prostitutes,
Okay.
street prostitutes. They call them Johns.
Yes.
So I would take her to all her Johns. So I knew everyone that she would sell her body to, okay, and get money in exchange for it. And I would drive her to old man's house. I drove her to an attorney that lived in the South Valley. I drove her to a retired judge. I drove her to a cop's house in the South Valley that she sold herself to.
Wow.
She would get money. Whether she would call it either hand twisties, where she would jack them off. She would, there was this one crazy person was this Mexican man that had a fetish of females defecating on them.
That's terrible.
He would lay down a plastic on the floor. She would get butt ass naked and take a dump on him.
And how do you know this?
She would come out and she would tell me what he would want her to do, and he would give her $200. And then she came out one time and she told me, "Hey, I told him you don't mess with that kind of stuff, but he said he'll give you an additional $200 if you'll go pee on him." And I was like, "No, let's go now." I
Wow.
didn't do that kind of stuff. That was ridiculous.
That is sick.
It is sick. There's sick men out. I mean, she would be doing guys that were on oxygen tanks, that couldn't even get out of a wheelchair. She'd sit on them,
Wow, that's terrible. Freaking terrible.
But this is how I know what she didn't like, you know what I mean? And she's gotten caught. I mean, the street that we used to sell the dope on Aritas in the South Valley, I mean, that, if you listen to her interrogation by Detective Jennings is the exact detective that did a raid on that whole street. So I wonder if they've always were on my tail. Makes me wonder.
Makes you wonder, huh?
Yeah,
I don't.
makes me wonder.
You never know. The probably
And
was.
she got caught in that raid, and she never went to jail.
That's very fishy.
Very. Smells bad.
Yes.
Very smells bad. But regardless, on some of these interviews, it makes me mad because they're protecting themselves, not telling the truth or adding their own things, or, why not say what you're there for? Because honestly, I'm so upset because Leandro was there every single day, every single moment. That's the whole reason why Chris was living with us, because he just antagonized me. He followed me around town, begging for drugs, buying drugs from me. But he failed to say that. Why? Because I feel he should have also been charged with neglect. We're both the parents, right? Both the parents of Ethan.
Yes.
He obviously didn't show any care to be around Ethan, more about following me, wanting to be with me and buy my drugs. Why didn't he get charged?
Yeah, I believe he manipulated the system. he lied, as I heard in the interviews, just to cover his ass.
Yeah,
He should have got in trouble himself.
he should have.
Did you tell the detectives that he would follow you and all that?
Yeah, well, no,
You
I didn't.
didn't. You
I don't.
didn't.
I don't think
You
I did
didn't say nothing about it like
because
that.
I didn't. First of all, I
Yeah.
don't believe in snitching. I didn't believe
At
in
that
snitching.
time.
At that time, I did not believe in snitching because I was involved in
Yes.
criminal.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't believe in that. Excuse me. Even the years of us being together with Leandro and the abuse that I went through with him, I never once called the cops on him
Why not? Why was that?
because I didn't believe in calling the police.
What What do you mean by abuse you?
He would beat me up. I
What?
would go to work. I worked at a mortgage company. I would literally go to work to black guys. And you know the excuse that I would say? That I hit my head on the cabinet as I went down to get a pan when I was cooking.
And what did your bosses say?
My bosses were furious. They wanted to whip his ass.
They didn't
But of
believe you.
course-
They didn't believe your story, huh?
No, they believed it.
No, they believed that
They believed
you
it.
fell on the you fell on.
No, I believe they listened to it, but they didn't.
They dusted it off.
They dusted
Shook
it off. They didn't want to get involved. Their bosses, they came from another state to open up 20th Century Mortgage, and they didn't want involvement in there, you know?
Yes.
But, and I don't blame them. You know, a lot of people, when it comes to people getting abused, they try to stay out of it. You know, it's not their problem. They don't want the drama, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
The unfortunate thing is that he got arrested.
Exactly what you said, but he didn't listen.
Exactly what I said is what happened. And that's the one domestic violence that he has with me. However, with his previous girlfriend, Victoria, he has like 10 plus domestic. But she was a cop. She called the cops. You look at her wrong, she'll call the cops. You know what I mean? That's the type of person that she was with him. You know, and I don't blame her, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't raised like that.
No woman should go through something like that.
No woman should go through that. You know, no woman. It's just crazy to me. Like all this stuff that is coming out, I want to wring some people's necks. I'm like, are you serious? Are you serious? You know, like when I went to prison, Leandro got with some girl and she came to prison and she came looking for me. I mean, it was already over with. I didn't want to be with him. I didn't want to be with him from the beginning. I did remarry him, yes, like a stupid. I wasn't thinking. I just wanted to get the approval from my parents. They finally approved of the lesser of the evils, which was him. But I came to my senses. When I went to jail, I came to my senses. And what made me come to my senses is he came to a visit on the computer and he started yelling at me and calling me a child killer. And he knows I was not there because I was with his sorry ass, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I called my mom. I hung up. I said, I want a divorce. I knew better not to marry you. I'm tired of your abuse. I'm tired of your emotional, verbal abuse, spiritual abuse, physical abuse. I didn't want it no more.
Mm-hmm.
And I told my mom and I got another divorce from him. That was my second divorce through him, you know? And when I went to prison, he got with somebody else and she went to prison. I don't know why or how she ended up there, but she ended up there. And she was trying to find me. She kept saying, where's Juliana so-and-so? Where is she? Well, I was an aerobics instructor for 5.5 years in the New Mexico Women's Correctional and CCA. And everybody knew where I was at.
Yes.
Everyone. 800 plus people, they knew where I was.
And then?
And a person I knew brought her to the gym where I was working. And they said, there she is, because she wanted to whip my ass. So I finished my aerobics class, teaching it. And I walked to where my friend was, and she was like, hey, this girl's asking for you. She knows Leandro, your ex-husband, and she wants to fight with you. I said, oh, really? Well, my hair was already up. And I said, come on, let's go to the bathroom. And we went in there, and she was like, no, you're not even exactly what he described you as. And I don't want no problems. I just wanted to see who you were, and that's it. I was like, okay.
And she lied. She heard them footsteps coming.
Yeah.
She avoided because she saw that.
Yeah.
You're well known.
She saw it was in shape. She saw that I didn't care. She saw the person I was, and I was like, whatever.
She was just a barking dog.
Yeah, she was a barking dog, just like his nieces.
Yeah.
Just like his nieces, And it's just crazy to me. Even to this day, I still put up with and hearing the baby Brianna case on the news about a mom who had involvement in her daughter's death between the mom, her brother, and the uncle, which was the baby's uncle, and the father of the child, and the torture they did to this child. And I remember sitting there and I'd be like, I hope she goes to prison and I hope she rots. I hope that she gets what's coming to her. I hope that she never comes out and that they killed her. Because mind you, I thought the women's prison was like men's, where they don't put up with child molesters, child abusers, child killers, women rapists. They don't put up with that. Okay? I never thought in a million years down the road, that I would be faced with a child charge. Yes, it was child abuse negligence that resulted in death because my son died. But guess what? I got the same amount of time as that woman that killed her own child, who had bite marks over 32 times on that little baby's body. I got the same amount of time.
It tells you how
Where is the justice?
Yeah, and this system over here is corrupted.
It is so corrupted, and I believe that in my next episode that I'm going to be posting, it's going to be my interview, my interrogation, the second one. I'm not going to post the first one because it's just a bunch of crying and because I just lost my son.
Yes,
but
of course.
The second interview, you're going to see some things that no mother that is grieving should see, should hear. And the words that comes out of my mouth, like, it's grieving. It's like you blame yourself. I should have seen something.
Yeah.
I should have recognized.
Yeah.
Me saying I should have seen something got me arrested, because a neglect case is not based on evidence. It's based on what a mother should have done.
Yeah.
And if you're grieving and you see your child's brain
or
being autopsied,
skin pulled
forward, would you not say, oh my God, I should have?
Yeah. All right, take your time.
That's going to be the next episode. That is the turning point of why I got arrested. This is kind of why I took a break for a little bit.
Yeah, of course.
The next interview is horrific.
Yeah.
Horrific for me. And to think I did the same amount of time as the mother who killed her own child, who had involvement in her own child's murder, the baby Brianna case, kills me. Kills me.
It's not fair for you.
It's not fair. But I took a plea because I lost hope. I didn't want to fight anymore. I did not care. I just wanted to I thought I could get lost in the system. And really, in New Mexico, there's only one women's prison. I thought it was like the men's where there's several, and you can't get lost.
Yeah.
You can't. You're there with 800 women in one place. At the time when I was there, it was only one prison. Now there's two. But you still can't get lost in two prisons.
No.
And I didn't know anything about 50% of your time or 85% of your time. I never did any kind of jail time. I wasn't a type of person to go in and out of jail. Yes, I did crime.
Yes.
Yes, I got away with it. But I should have never did time for what I did. I should have did time for selling drugs. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. No mother should bury a son.
No mother should bury a son.
Or a daughter.
It's not the scheme of things.
It's not the way circle of life. The kids are the ones supposed to bury the parents. Yes. That's how normal worldly things is these days, or forever, for a long time.
So, hearing all of this and you knowing everything, what are your thoughts? What kind of questions do you have for me?
Questions
or
thoughts? I think it's really, really, really wrong that what happened to Ethan. Like, it's a sad story, and I know it is breaking you. You're breaking your heart right now, and I just don't understand it. It's mind blowing because I can't even see that. Imagine like happening to a baby like that. Poor little Ethan.
Yeah. Any questions? Any questions as far as what you've heard on episodes 1 through 5? Any questions as to prison or getting out,
Um,
mental red flags?
right now, I want to say that I'm proud of you for doing this to ease you, to make you have some kind of comfort, and I'm happy that you're doing it so you can better yourself for our girls.
Right. We do have 2 other girls,
Yes, we
and
do.
one
Two
is,
beautiful girls.
yes, 2 beautiful girls. They're my saving grace right now.
Yeah. And
One thing, speaking of saving grace, I do want to reiterate this before we end. Despite all of what happened,
yeah.
prison was my saving grace at that time. Let me explain.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
When my son died, I felt like my world shattered. Like I had nothing to live for anymore because for 11 years, 10 years, I tried to become a mom. That was my dream, to be a mom. And I lost several kids before through miscarriage and one tumor due through stress and physical abuse.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah. Finally, when I was able to have a child and I lost her, I felt like I had nothing left. Nothing else left to live.
Nothing to
Because
live
I
for.
didn't have a relationship with my parents. It was estranged. I'd been away. Yes, I would go visit them every now and then, but it wasn't often. It had been estranged for many years
Yeah.
for certain reasons. So I felt like I had nothing and nobody anymore. I didn't
Yeah.
see any future. And so I got back into, for a time, I had stopped using drugs because I got pregnant and I stopped partying. Once I had my son and I went through a divorce, I did start partying a little bit, but it was at home. I do remember going to the club one time with my cousin while Chris watched my son. But once he died, I didn't have a reason any longer to live or to be productive. So I started drinking heavily and I started doing drugs again. I was doing tranquilizers and I was drinking really bad and I did not care. I did not care. I believe if I would not have gone to prison or jail, I would have killed myself by an overdose or being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah.
And I believe that saved me.
What do you? What do you? What made? What? What's who saved you? You believe? Do you believe God saved you from destruction of your life, from stopping you from going to hell?
I believe.
Like, what was your true saving grace?
Okay, so I do believe in God and the devil. Okay, I do believe in that. I do believe that I fell away from the Lord.
Okay.
Okay, I fell away from the Lord. And I believe the devil was trying to attack me and cause me to kill myself in my sin or whatever. Not kill myself physically,
Yeah.
so to speak, but
Like
through
us.
my actions, like an overdose or whatever.
Basically suicidal.
Yeah.
A walking suicidal person.
He's always been after me.
Yeah.
And I believe God used what the devil intended to be evil to harm me to be a positive because he saved me from that to help me to cope. I know for several years I blamed God and I got into some ugly stuff while I was in prison and things that I'm not proud of. I accepted God in there again, rededicated, and then I forgave Chris. And then it was shattered by certain people that said I was
Wrong.
for doing that because then I'm losing Ethan's memory. So I took back all my hatred. So in a sense, I didn't quite give it all to
You
God.
didn't because you wouldn't be able to bring
I
it back.
been able to bring it back.
Yeah, it
Exactly.
was still there.
So when I got out, I was split. I was still angry. But this time my anger wasn't towards God, it was angry towards men. And I wanted to destroy anything and anyone that I come in contact with. How that was, that's for a later topic. But somehow I met you and we were not living the best of life.
No.
In the beginning. It was pretty rocky. But for somehow we ended up back at church. And God blessed us with children. And we rededicated our lives. And I'm trying to come to terms now with my past,
Yeah.
with the loss of my son. And I'm doing it slowly on my terms. And I believe this podcast is to help, not just to bring awareness as to what happened in my situation, but to bring awareness to other women that may be in my same situation. Even men. There may be men that are the ones that have custody of their children. Red signs to look at. As you listen to the episodes, listen to those red signs, red flags. See how a lot of times domestic violence can also play a role in crime and in situations, and try to protect your children at all costs.
Yeah.
That is one of my reasons for putting this out there, so that way women and men can see red signs in who they're with, whether it be the children's father or the children's mother or a boyfriend or a girlfriend or somebody you just met. So that's the purpose that we're doing. And on top of it is for healing.
Yes, of course.
I'm not going to get answers.
No.
I'm not going to get answers as to what exactly happened. Because the one individual who knows exactly what happened will not say to this day.
And he's gonna take that to his grave.
I believe he will. I believe he'll take it to his grave, And I wish that I could get answers, but I know I won't.
Yeah.
So I have to come to terms with that.
Yeah.
But this is my way of not holding it in anymore and sharing it with myself and with the world.
Makes perfect sense. I do have something to say. Yesterday, I rededicated my life to Jesus, and I'm happy and I'm ready for a change. I just want everybody out there, to those non-believers, to go to church, find a way to the Lord, because He wants you so bad.
And life is short.
You never know tomorrow. So pick up a book, a Bible, basic instruction before leaving Earth. And I pray to whoever's listening to this podcast that you be blessed with many, many blessings for the rest of your life.
Thank you.
And I love you, Juliana, and thank you for having me on your podcast.
Of course. Thank you for being here. Again, I'm Juliana Diaz with the Heart and Justice Podcast. Please like, share, follow, and comment, and stay tuned for more.